Property Unfiltered. Real investors, real stories, the good and the bad in property investing.
Well, g'day everyone. Liam Gutman here, co-host of the Property Unfiltered podcast with my amazing co-host Simon Liu of House Finder. And today we have a cracker of an episode. Two worlds collide. We have two of the biggest names in property investing here in the studio. Of course, Simon Liu, but one of his long-term clients, and he actually is a client, but he's the co-host of the How I Met My Broker podcast, Chuy from Strategic Brokers. Gentlemen, this is like, we actually had a podcast, the three of us, maybe like a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago.
We done one a few months ago, actually.
Yeah. The three of us.
Yeah.
Did I go on your one?
You were on my one.
Yeah. Okay. But we did have a crossover on Property Unfiltered. I think that's where I first met Hung, and it was a cracker of an app. And today we're going to be talking about how you both have worked together, some of the deals, Simon, that you've done with Hung, some ups, downs, learnings, lessons along the way, and pretty important topic, especially given as we are in a changing property market, some of those lessons. But the theme of today, the proof is in the pudding, how you guys have made some pretty good cash together and how you've worked together. To start us off, how did you guys meet? What were the first couple of deals you did together? What was the genesis story?
How did we meet? It was through mutual friends.
Yeah, well,
Someone that just called
someone
you,
who just called me and then put it on loudspeaker. Funny enough. So I think Twine introduced us through, we all had this common interest in cars.
Yeah.
But
Twine from Geotax, I'll give him a plug.
Yeah. He's also been on the
He's
pod.
also been on the pod.
He's also been on the pod.
No, I think the funny thing was actually while Twine introduced us, we were in a mutual deal, but we didn't really know each other yet. So we had our very, very first client, and that was Jane, who is now a strategic broker. So that was the very, very first deal that we done.
So that was a mutual deal as buyer's agent broker.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. And at the same time, we were our very close friend was connecting us at the same time. It's almost like the stars have aligned.
Yeah. Do you remember what the deal was?
Well, Jane, interestingly, I met Jane at her house, actually.
This was when Simon still used
This
to
was
do
when
the
I was
house
still doing
calls.
house calls.
Driving his
Back
banged
in the
up
day.
Daihatsu Charade.
Was it actually?
Hey, Suzuki Swift.
Come on, man.
Get it right.
No, I went to her house and I met her, and she was like, I want to invest, I want to get passive income and all this kind of stuff. And I think back then she was working in hospitality. And I think we bought her 2 or 3 deals. And then 3 deals later, she's like, I want to catch up with you at the hotel that she was working in. So we were just chilling at the lobby. And
For context, she works at the hotel.
Yeah,
She
I
works
was
at the
trying
hotel.
to.
Sorry, yes,
Yeah, I was
she works
trying to
at
work
the
this one
hotel.
out. Okay.
We're in the lobby only. Grab the coffee, and she was like, "Man, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get into something property related." And I don't believe she was specifically looking to become a broker at that point in time. But I thought to myself, I think at the time you were looking to hire and expand as well.
Yeah, I think when you're in the early stages of business, you're always looking to expand, but you just don't know what you need at that point in time. Jane was an interesting one because I put out ads and I put out a few things on social media, and I don't check my LinkedIn. So she dropped in my LinkedIn. I must have not replied, and then she dropped into my Facebook, then dropped into my email. She was very persistent, and I didn't want anyone green at the time. When you go into this hiring phase, and you really just think about green, you think about I've got so much work to do. But because of her persistency, she made me. I think me and Simon had a few convos about it, and I made a decision to take her on board and take her under my wing. Now she's probably one of the best female brokers in the country.
She's a hustler, hey.
She doesn't stop.
She
doesn't
good on
stop.
her.
She works really hard. You'll see her email from her at midnight. Just really.
She
hard
calls me
worker.
at 8 p.m. She called me the other night. She's like, "Hey, I've got this client and she needs an SMSF very urgently." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Just non-stop. Yeah. No, she's been a good client. She's a great broker, and she's been a good referrer as well. But the property she bought, or one of them, in Kalanga, purchased in 2019, 365,000. Man, those were the days. Man, 300K, 400K houses in Moreton Bay in Brisbane. I miss those days. I wish I
Yeah,
knew
that's
more.
insane.
Oh, look, why I love this deal was that it's the foundation or stepping stone. It was a deal that obviously opened up the doors, opened up her eyes to all the opportunities, brought her into our world. And the I guess the later picture of this property, she eventually sold it. And she sold it. I think it's been 2 years now.
Yeah.
But sold it for almost $800,000, which
Double.
double more than if we take away setup costs or purchasing costs and agency fees, more than double.
Yeah.
Right. But what that enabled her to do, which I find this is the greatest part of my job anyway, is the sense that we create the opportunities, right? And Simon obviously is the same. And that led her into being able to buy her principal place of residence. That's the why it was sold. If she held it till today, that property would be it would have went up another 150,000. But the opportunity cost to not be able to get into an occupier at that time, which has also gone up, which is fantastic because she bought that below market. But the thing that Simon does beautifully, and I've always kind of got to give him credit for it, is he always finds a deal below market. So
Thank you, man.
This allowed him, allowed Jane to then obviously use the equity and then buy into a second deal, which was the one in Marsden.
Yeah,
I believe.
again in Queensland.
Yeah,
Marsden is in Logan, guys. If anyone doesn't know,
The king of Logan, Simon Lee.
Yeah, 3-bed, 1 bath, 321K. That was 600 square meters as well. What did we pay for that one?
321.
That's right. And now it's worth 900.
Yeah.
That's almost a triple.
Almost tripled in value.
She still got that one, so that's also allowing the wealth pool to keep continuing.
Yeah.
But the amazing thing also is these types of properties. They obviously had they had their big rush and then the sugar rush, and they're still affordable properties, which means they keep moving.
Yeah.
As you can see, but what year was this? This was 2022, I believe.
Yeah. Something like that.
No, it was about 2020. Sorry, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2020, 2026, 6 years, almost getting a triple up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I mean, everything's
Yeah.
gone up in the past 6 years, but to triple the value, I think that's like, if I may say so myself, that's not bad.
I mean, it's
insane.
pretty insane, like, especially just with the cash on cash, right? Because a lot of people, you might oversimplifying it. If you're listening to this podcast, you're wondering, do I make my first investment property? Do I buy my first investment property? Do I do my first deal? This isn't just like 321 to 900, right? Yeah. This is, if you put down 12% deposit, for example, we're talking about putting down like 40K, maybe even a little bit less, maybe like 39K. Like this is, it's more than triple your investment at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Like in terms of actual capital that you're putting out, it's a no-brainer. And at the time, all these houses were cash flow neutral at least, or maybe even cash flow positive. Do you know what I mean? So zero holding costs almost. You just buy it, you rent it out, you sit on it for 5-6 years, you triple your money in terms of the actual value. But in terms of the actual money you put out, what's that? Like 20x or something.
Yeah,
30x.
yeah. Well, actually, zero. There's no real number because the second property is bought with equity, right? So there was
true.
It was a pure equity play, which means you put zero cash in by the second deal.
Yeah. So on that note, Simon, back then you kind of highlighted that a lot of these properties were neutrally geared or even positively geared.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the case for a lot of investors today. How can people navigate that?
Honestly, the best thing to do is buy in areas where it's more than likely that the rent's going to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the very short term, right? So once again, these sort of capital cities, up and coming areas where housing is a bare necessity, and off the back of negative gearing being dropped as well, these are exactly the type of areas where you get a huge amount of demand from just people, average people that need a house to live in, but there's less supply. So, naturally the rents are just going to go up organically. So, some of the houses we bought, like in Perth, as an example, a year ago, where they were renting for maybe $700 a week, are now renting for $800 or $850.
Yeah.
So one rental increase can completely change the dynamics of the cash flow. Yeah. What I do tell people all the time not to do is to not just chase cash flow, because you end up in crappy areas, you end up buying properties or overcapitalizing. Like a lot of people are turning their properties into 20 rooms and doing granny flats and all this kind of stuff. And there's a time and a place for it. But when you're building your portfolio and you're trying to scale and you're trying to stack properties, like imagine back then if Jane, for Kalanga decided to put on a granny flat, instead of using that back then, I don't know how much granny flats were, maybe 100, 200K or something like that. But instead of putting that 200K, whether it's in borrowing or whether it's in capital, into a granny flat rather than another Kalanga.
You could have bought Marsden,
exactly.
right?
Well,
You know,
Marsden wouldn't have happened if she'd done the granny flat.
exactly,
Or it might have happened later, but then the growth
And then you would
would've-
have missed half the growth.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So there's a massive opportunity cost of doing that. And what's for what? To get an extra 100, 200, even $300 a week of positive cash flow. Like, yeah, sometimes you need it from a lending perspective, but I think if it's not really a strategy, you know, it's more just like, okay, cool, we buy properties that are 5%, 6% yielding off the bat. But in 1 or 2 years, it might turn to 7%, you know, based on a few lease renewals. And yeah, just keep buying more properties that just keep, you know, repeating that.
So tell us about your favorite deals, Hung, that Simon's pulled together for you.
Oh, mate. I don't know if this is my favorite deal, but it was one of the deals that sits in my core memory.
Yep.
Because
It's very unique.
Yeah, I know.
Very,
I'm like,
very,
where
very
are we
unique.
going with this?
it was like the first time you played with the sand.
Yeah.
No, I remember there was a place, and my whole office always talks about it. We call it the Ratatouille house. So, I always remember this deal because it was just a funny deal because we always gathered around the computer to look at the valuation report when it came in.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Ratatouille house. It was this house. It was a beautiful house actually. It was relatively new. I remember the internal floor space was huge. Here, I got some data on it. 210 square meters internal.
Yeah.
On I think it was like a 5 or 6 year old build, right? And it was a $615,000 purchase 2 years ago. And
2 years ago.
yeah, you think about how crazy that is.
Yeah,
right?
that's
The value on this deal was insane. Like when I remember just looking at it and going, "This is so cheap. It should be worth $750 to $800 every day of the week." When you just look at it based on the market, not let alone intrinsic value on the thing. But yeah, it had about 200 rats inside of it. So,
Yeah. That's crazy.
Okay,
I
before
remember
we
this.
start turning people off, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Explain.
Yeah, so the deal itself, I remember when it came through, well, I was looking at it because the client wanted to pull out of it. And Ross was with me sitting at the desk I'm going, what's wrong with the deal? Why does he want to pull out? And looking at the report, and there was this high risk rating around smell and rats and things like that. So this guy, whoever it was that was renting the place, he was a rat breeder.
So you mentioned this before the podcast.
Yeah.
What's a rat breeder?
I have no idea.
Like,
there must
but
be a market out there.
But that's his
To buy rats.
occupation. Like his occupation is breeding rats.
I think so. So
He's selling it to Python owners or something. Like it's a niche thing.
Maybe, yeah.
I
Actually,
don't know.
that's a good call.
Maybe.
no, to be fair, they weren't rats that you would eat. They were like rats that look pretty.
But I'm
They were
not
like
suggesting
colourful
we eat
and
them.
no, I think these were
Rats that
like
you would
pet,
eat.
yeah, like pythons eat
Also,
them.
like,
But
what do
I
you
mean,
mean like colourful? Like what they're
we're
pets?
Asian. We eat anything.
Hey, guys, just for the record,
No comment.
I don't eat rats.
Wait, so
I
they're-
only eat mice. No, I'm kidding.
so they're colourful, like
Yeah,
and that's
I think they were just when people have pet rats and they have.
If anyone listening at home knows the reason for a rat breeder, email me liam.garman@media.com.au. I'd love to learn more.
they look like they're pet rats.
What is
but-
that in The Simpsons where they milked them for milk or something?
Yeah,
Where
could be
milked
that.
Oh, yeah, I
rats?
remember that
Yeah.
episode, yeah.
So we're assuming he milked them. Okay.
So yeah, when it went cooling off, and I just remember Ross getting the calls, and they were saying the guy's like, "I'm going to pull out of this deal," and then I just remember looking at it, going, "Mate, if your client pulls out of this deal, he is a madman.
Yeah.
Get this place fumigated, get the thing, whatever you need to do is like." Well, rip the carpets out. What's that going to cost you? 10 grand to get the whole house carpeted, everything else. Not even, right?
Yeah.
Get it fumigated. I don't know if you'll ever get the smell out, but you could probably spray the new Chanel cologne all over the place. Couple of
20,
bottles. I don't know.
It's a bit bougie.
Yeah, get a bit bougie. But look, whatever it is, this is the thing that people miss out on. They look at these things, but they don't look at the bare bones, right?
Yeah.
What is the core of the property? This is a beautiful house, 210 square meters. It even has a swimming pool.
Yeah.
How much it cost to make a swimming pool? 210 square meter house, 6 years old or whatever it was at the time. It was really new and modern.
4 bed, 2 bath, 2 garage, 2007. Like, I'm not at a stage where when I see something like that, something odd, whether it's rats or whether it's I don't know, like it's fully run down, or whether it's you know, a very popular one is that I've said a couple of times as well is drug affected.
Yeah,
right.
We'll talk about one of those. Yeah, we call them the meth labs.
Like that's a sign.
But I mean,
it's gonna make you money.
Yeah, well, you turn away 90% of potential buyers, but when you scratch the surface, to your point, like there are very easy cosmetic changes that you could do, or potentially like, okay, maybe it's a bit more than cosmetic because it's smell or whatever you had to do upgrades. But so it's now currently valued at 1.5 mil, or 1.05 mil.
That's 2 years.
After
So
2 years?
after 2 years.
615K to 1050 million.
So it's making 200 grand a year in equity on average so far. So what's the payoff? Like, you know, you rip out carpets, you fumigate the place,
didn't do
you
anything.
strip the paint.
Do anything?
Yeah, well, but you strip the paint.
You found another app it has a tenant.
Yeah, but you do these like very small things. Would you turn down a 400K equity uplift for the sake of 10K in carpets and stripping paint?
Yeah,
like, and that's the
it's
question,
crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
So to
Like
be fair,
it's hard. Look, for the for the people that are fairly new to investing, like, look, I get it. You know, you look at something like this and it's immediately a red flag. You know, you kind of ask yourself like, it's just hard to get your head around it. It's hard to sleep at night.
yeah,
And it's so jarring. I mean, we get this all the time. Clients see building and pests, and when we do our due diligence inspections, and they see a tenant that's a little bit too, you know, they've got lots of stuff. That's a common one, right? They're a bit of a hoarder,
yeah,
right? And they go, no, I don't want that. Well, it's just a tenant. You know, kick them out. You know, or you know, for lack of a better term, but sooner or later they're going to vacate. But you know, are they damaging the house? You know, is it affecting the actual numbers? Is it affecting the rent? Is it affecting the value? If it isn't, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
You know, and if anything, that's the kind of stuff that turns most buyers away. So you got less competition, and that's how you end up with these properties that make $400,000 in 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? That's a massive salary.
Yeah. To
You
be
know, just
fair,
passively.
I remember when I looked at this property and I was looking at comparable sales. If you went like for like in that same area at the exact same time, there was nothing close to it selling for less than 750. So this was a massive under market value. Like
That's what we do, guys.
Yeah.
We get the best deals on the market value.
But you can imagine the owner. This is what people don't think about. The vendor or the owner. They're thinking about, oh man, my house smells like rats. No one's going to buy it.
Yeah.
You know, what's going through their mind is the psychology that's where you're getting good deals.
Yeah.
Because whatever's, like right now, when we're in this market, right, there's some great deals to be bought. I've seen so many really fantastic deals. And it really just comes down to the mindset of the vendor. You know, so they might not be comparing apples with apples. They might have this feeling that when they bring it up to the open market, they might be embarrassed. I don't want to spend 10 grand to fix it up because I haven't got that in my pocket. You know, so there's so many different reasons why they would sell it for so cheap.
Yeah.
But you know, that's something that I noticed. This is a trend with Simon's deals. He finds these opportunities that other people aren't looking at. And he gets a lot presented off market as well, which are a lot of and truly off market. Like this was truly off market.
Interestingly, these are the hardest to, I don't want to say convince, you know, buyers to go for, because the fear works both ways, like I just mentioned. You know, we spend a lot of time educating buyers about, you know, okay, just try and overlook it, you know, try and look past this. And they're like, oh, no, we still want something. We just want something that's set and forget and easy and like, and there's money to be made there. But if you want like to make real juicy returns, like there's always something like this. And you kind of have to ask yourself, cool, all right, let's say you had to spend 50 grand on this. You know, you only made $350,000 in 2 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to look at it like really.
I mean, if you spend
unemotionally.
if you spend 50 grand in the first few months of it, by the end of that year, you're still up 150.
Yeah.
You know, can you save that much? Like, can the average Australian save 150 grand over the course of a year after they've No. Like, this is like the figures are insane.
Yeah. I'm gonna get like 50 inquiries now.
Any more rat house guys?
If you want a rat house, send rat emojis to Simon. House finder, please, on his Instagram.
Rocket emojis
little
to
rats.
Hung, rat emojis to Simon.
Yeah.
Parental guarantor deals with close friends. Have you done many of those? I know it's something that's on the mind of a lot of young Aussies at the moment.
What is that? Can you expand on it?
Yeah, so it's when people don't have a deposit ready, their parents can guarantee, I guess, the equity that is required to support the 80% loan to value ratio that the banks require, right? So, for instance, you want to buy for, let's use 500 grand as an example, the bank would lend you up to 400 grand, right? And you need to pay all costs plus 20% plus stamp duty. So you'd probably need a total loan to pay for everything. Let's just throw the buyer's agent in there as well. You need about probably 545,000 in total. What they do is they take that 145 grand and you could borrow that additionally. But they'll take the equity from one of the parents' properties to hold it as security. So the customer then borrows the whole 100% plus stamp duty. Plus, if you show an invoice, right, from a buyer's agent, you can even include that with some lenders too. A lot of brokers actually don't know that. So it's a really special thing. So it allows people who obviously can't save, don't have a deposit, but bank of mum and dad isn't open yet, but they've got equity in their property. They'd love to help their children to get ahead. And it might seem like a dangerous thing because you've got to guarantee your house. If they don't pay their dues, then they're going to come after mum and dad's property, whichever property that is. Truth be told, families are families, right? They don't want to give their money up now. They might be investing that elsewhere, but they've got money to back up their children. So they're willing to do this because they're looking at the child being able to get ahead, get into a property, not have to wait 4 years when the market's taken off to be able to then get into a property, letting them capture that capital growth. And I really love this. I love it when it's done right. But you see, there's a lot of shonky guys out there selling this off with these off-the-plan units and stuff like that. That's where it becomes very, very troublesome. See people with almost negative equity from day one when they settle with a parental guarantee only, and then taking a crap load of the parents' equity because the valuation came short on the property, right? So this is where it gets scary.
So, okay, on that note, let's dig a little bit deeper there. So I'm guessing at settlement they'll do an evaluation, and if it comes up short.
Yeah, that's for an off the plan, but
I want to focus on that. Well, just for 1 second, because there's a lot of spruikers out there at the moment, right? And my emails are, obviously, I give my email openly on podcasts, so I get flooded with every spruiker in Australia. And you're right, like they do identify these little hooks and they identify these little ways to get people in, and they might even go after the parents. Oh, this is a great way to help my kid get on the property ladder because it's so hard at the moment, and they can keep negative gearing or whatever it might be. But so what happens if it comes up short? What happens to the parents if that off the plan place comes up short?
So rather than guaranteeing, so you've always got to have 20% equity in the deal, right? So I'll use an example yesterday that I saw. This one's a bit crazy. The guys purchased the property for $1 million, and the valuations come in at about 700 grand. Right, so they're 300 grand short.
Crazy.
That was off the plan 2-bedroom unit for $1 million in Melbourne.
Oh, we were talking about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that's the updated.
No, this is a whole new deal.
Another one.
This is a whole new deal that I was seeing yesterday.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Not going to say who's involved because I really don't like these people that.
Yeah.
Oh, was it through a spruiker?
Through a spruiker.
Wow.
Yeah, they bought it. Yeah, think about it. If you bought a 2-bedroom unit in Melbourne in
How
high
do they do
density
this?
at $1 million,
How do they convince?
It's not worth $1 million today.
How do they convince people to go for these deals? I don't understand.
But the customer, this crazier thing is that these customers are almost brainwashed. Like they were still saying this is a great deal.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, your valuation is 700 grand. How is that a great deal?
Yeah.
They're comparing this to real properties and they're saying that if you put it to the open market today, you'd probably get 700 grand for it.
Yeah.
And you paid $1 million. How is that a good deal?
Yeah.
I don't understand. But anyways, like the way that they must have some brainwash activity through the process that makes the customer still feel like they've got a good deal at the end. I'm like, mate, now, so let's put the parent guarantee into that respect, right? So, okay, 700 grand valuation.
Yeah.
The banks will only lend you 80% of that, right? 560. But you need to borrow the full amount, right? Because you don't have any deposit. So you need to get to $1 million. So the parents have to guarantee an additional 440,000, but they need to show at least 20% equity in that. So you got to divide up by 0.8. So they've got to put up probably close to I don't know numbers off the top of my head, but over 500 grand from equity from their home into this deal.
Insane.
Yeah. So it's
And if they
crazy.
can't do that, they'd have to sell.
No, they lose their deposit. Yeah.
Oh, they lose their
Yeah, well,
deposit.
because they're off the plan, right? The 10%'s gone plus damages after the fact. So if the developer chooses, depending on which state, that they've got actually losing money now and they can't get their finance to finish their own projects, and they're losing money.
Yeah.
Damages on top. It's crazy, right?
What's concerning now is that with all these recent budget changes and stuff like that, it's really pushing people more and more into, especially first-time buyers, into these new builds, and they're literally straight into the trap.
Yeah.
And these developers, they don't care. These builders, they don't care either. And even third parties, they're getting paid probably anywhere between 50 to 100 grand of commission straight up.
There was a lot in this. When I looked at it, from when I read between the lines, I felt like there was 150 grand commission in this deal.
That's crazy. That's
for
crazy.
the spruiker.
Was it via a buyer's agent?
Yeah, well, like a spruiker, but
well,
like
you know, there's
technically, I don't know what you call them.
The only reason
they call themselves wealth guys. I don't know
the only reason I was going to
Anti-wealth.
the only reason I was going to make that distinction is because there are a lot of people that are out there, like, you know, if you go on to like one of the websites, you know, you can buy it direct, but you know, there are a lot of buyers agents out there that are double handling. You know, they're getting money from both sides, and you know, this is one thing which, you know, makes your figures stack up so well, Simon, and you know, this is just something that you've been very vocal against. You've been warning against this stuff for years and years and years. Ever since I've known you, you've been calling this out of people that buyers agents out there that are getting the buyer's agent fee and essentially a selling commission from the builder.
From the agent.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times I see agents giving, even some of the agents we deal with, when we call them, oh, you know, or they'll call us, oh, if you sell us this deal, we'll give you X amount commission. And I'm like, that's like, ethics aside, I don't even think that's legal. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be legal.
Yeah.
But it's unnecessary. But it's sometimes it's so juicy. You know, people build business models around this, you know, just to get this commission. And unfortunately, it's always the buyers that end up, you know, in the
This stuff, like every time I see it, or think about it, I actually get really angry when I think about it, because I've seen how many. It's just a pivotal moment. It's not just the fact that you've got one bad investment, right? It literally sets the path financially for life for these people.
Yeah.
Right. Because the opportunity cost of, you know, look, instead of doing that, I could have done what Jane did.
Yeah.
Bought 1, 2, bang, an occupier. Now I've got into a great place that I wanted to be in. Instead, you're stuck with this negative equity for the next 10, 20 years. And like, look, property's forgiving. At some point, that property will go up. Yeah. But, you know, by that time, what have you missed out on? You know, so it's just,
what have you missed out on? Can you hold it until you can be saved?
Yeah. What happens when the special levies start coming through? You know, in 10, 20 years, and you need to start spending money.
But the mental and emotional impact, especially if you're a first home buyer, the fact that you've kind of screwed over your parents as well, if you went parental guarantor, like you probably you know, there'd be an element of relationship breakdown there, and you're just like moving forward, you'd be very fearful about buying property, whether it's investment for your own occupier in the future. Yeah. So I think it's just not worth it. Buy rat houses instead, guys.
Moving to the rat house. Actually, we'll talk about a few quick parental guarantees that we've done together. And you know, I do it for my own family, my own friends, but only if the deals are right. You know, so we think about it pretty. We do think very deeply about how this would play out. And whenever I do this, I've always used Simon because he's always found properties that were obviously below market value. I've got a couple of really good examples actually. So I think I've mentioned about...
How many clients have we got mutually, do you think?
Oh, we've got hundreds of clients mutually. One of my close friends, he came to me to look for a car. I think I mentioned on one of the poddies in the past that we've done together, but you know, he came to me in February 2023 and looking at a property. Well, he wasn't looking at a property. He came to me to buy a luxury car. And I go, mate, you got enough. He wanted to put like a 50% deposit on the car to reduce the repayments. You know, people do that, and they go, yeah, that's going to be the right path. And like, and then I started just looking at it, asking the right questions, like, does your mum own a property? She's like, oh, yeah, she owns an apartment I'm living in, but that's all she's got, you know. And then I started really looking at it all and doing the numbers. I'm like, mate, do not buy the car. Yeah, keep your box. Let's get your property, mate. You got enough to pay the buyer's agent. Keep a buffer, healthy buffer. If your mum's willing to, let's see if she was willing to have put a parental guarantee for you. I know Simon can find a really good deal. We'd be looking to release that as fast as we can. But we obviously need to get a really good deal in order to allow that to happen faster. Yep. Buy in a growth market, buy under market value. And that will allow it very, very quickly. So that's, what are we now? Just over 3 years since that event. So I maybe let Simon talk about that property, because I thought we have to find a really safe one too. So this to me was, when he presented the deal, I was looking over it with him too, obviously. It just presented such great value, such a safe deal.
Well, there was some convincing, I remember, because it's in Halls Head, which is a suburb in Mandurah, which is in Perth, right, or on the outskirts of Perth. Now, Halls Head, if you look geographically, is, I forgot specifically, don't quote me guys, but around about 100 kilometers south of Perth itself, right? And coming from Sydney, I always get asked a question, is that too far? Are we in regional territory? But in Perth, the dynamics of Perth is different. You can be 100 kilometers away and still be considered within like the confines of Perth. Because if you Google map it from Halls Head to the city, it might take like an hour.
Yep.
You know, which for 100 kilometers, if you're 100 kilometers away from Sydney CBD, it'll take you like 5 days to get to the city, you know, because of traffic and infrastructure, you know, all that kind of stuff. So like, but we knew that this place was going to gentrify and to grow because Halls Head is literally right next to like one of the most amazing beaches in Australia, right? So, you know, and lo and behold, you know, we bought this house February 2023, 4-bed, 2-bath, 2-garage house. We paid $495 for it. 500 square meter block of land, built in 2004. So fairly modern house, very sort of cookie cutter kind of a property. Another thing that kind of puts a lot of people off is they kind of get scared with these sort of master home type situations. But, you know, it's one of these properties that just attracts really good tenants, really set and forget, almost bulletproof. And currently it's what, $900,000?
Yeah,
Something
so
like that.
fast forward 3 years.
3 years.
Let's look at the sliding door moment there, right? Had we bought that car,
Yeah.
we'd still be paying that car.
Yeah.
And we'd just be paying rent and doing nothing, right?
And
6
the car
months.
will be worth a lot less.
Oh, the car, negative equity, you always call it.
Yeah.
It's like buying off the plan.
Yeah.
But fast forward, right? Like, and I'm so proud of this because it's a close friend of mine, and it's giving him opportunity. Now he can travel. He might come to Europe with me next year, and there's all sorts of things that has just allowed him that take a lot of pressure off, right? In the sense that now I've got a little bit to fall back on. I mean, I've got a situation where I would have had nothing still. I'd be running the rat race. No, rat race, rat house. This is the rat episode, guys. But yeah, it's such a beautiful thing because after 6 months, because Simon did buy it below market, after 6 months, I got the property revalued and I was able to release mum straight away. It was already below market, probably about 40, 50 grand when he purchased that property. It wasn't 100 and something grand like the rat house. That would have been a great parental guarantee property because you could have probably revalued it the next day and then got it released straight away, right? So this is when I look at parental guarantees and try and take a safe pick. You really have to try to get a property below market if you can, and something that's in a growth or pocket where in a very short time, or you could renovate it or do something to allow it to then, you know, get that uplift and be able to just take the parents off the guarantee as soon as possible. So that was released within 6 months. So yeah, just such a beautiful thing.
Ironically, you can buy a much nicer car now as well.
Oh yeah,
With the equity.
yeah. You know the meme where the gorilla comes out and he's like, "When Lambo."
Yeah. Now
Hey,
Lambo.
you could buy a Lambo.
Someone sent me that video.
And then so we've done a fair few, but I'll probably another one that touches my heart a bit was actually a friend of mine came to me with about I think it was about 20 grand to invest in shares, and with no kind of trajectory to ever buy a property. And obviously I was like, man, do your parents own a property? And they're like, yeah. And then I sat down with mum and her, and you know, parents have a bit to fall back on, but that's obviously part of their retirement money at some point. But they were all for it. The parents were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, we really want to do this. We didn't want to use our own money. We didn't even know this was a possibility. But we'd had a limited income, limited budget. And we went to 450 grand was our
450K.
budget. Yeah. And I was like, Simon, we've got to get something for 450. Can we do it? And something that will grow and keep growing. That safe, really safe pick, right? It did take us a while on that one, actually. I think you were on it looking for a deal for about 2 to 3 months on that one. So it took a bit of time to find the right deal.
But that's just being particular at the end of the day. Like
you never compromise.
You never compromise,
right? Getting the right deal is so much more important than getting one quickly.
Yep.
Really, really important. And
So there's another lesson there. Buyer beware. If your buyer's agent comes out day one with a deal, someone else should have snapped that up by now.
You know, there's all these buyers agents that wait like 2 months after they send their first deal.
There's deals everywhere at the moment, man. My inbox is getting flooded by buyers agents sending me deals. Oh, look at this one, yield this, that. I'm looking about 10 a day now, man. It's crazy. But yeah, this deal, mate, I feel like it's an absolute cracker to where it is now. Like you look at the percentage growth and you're like, holy crap! And what a change!
So where was Taran Court?
This one was in. Oh man,
That's a good question, actually.
I'm trying to remember the suburb, but look, I'll keep speaking while Simon figures out the suburb. But
so I just named the street. I named the street. Oh.
But basically, it was in WA, and the budget at 450.
Cannington.
Yeah. The budget at 450 wasn't getting you into a house.
100%.
But what's the next best thing? And what was affordable at the time? So Simon's very good at looking forward. If you got him, give him a budget, he'll find the best possible thing, right? And her cash flow was very it was quite dry because she wasn't earning much. So we needed to find something that was yielding really, really well as well, which this property was in particular was actually fantastic. I remember. So 450, it was a townhouse.
I think it was a villa, and it's one of those villas that looks like a house. Like when I say it looks like a house, it's got its own land. It's not like attached to the house next door or anything like that.
It's just on a wax block or something.
And this is an important lesson, guys, because a lot of people are like, no, house only. You know, it must be on its own land, on its own title. I've spoken about this before, but there's a thing that I call the compromise effect, right? Which means that naturally, anyone who goes out to buy a property, whether it's for investment or for owner occupier, you always want to buy a house first. But when the houses get to a certain level of affordability, people have to compromise, especially average income earners. They have to compromise down. And the next level is always villas and townhouses. And then at an extreme, the next level down is units or apartments, right? So when we look at areas like Perth that has grown substantially in terms of the houses over a number of years, naturally the next in line are townhouses and villas. So that's why this property is done so well. It's a 3-bed villa or a house-like villa, 269 square meters block of land, which is large for any villa. And we paid $450 for it, and it's worth $725 today. That was purchased in 2024. Right. So
exactly 2 years.
2 years, pretty much. Yeah. And I remember this particular client as well. Like, she was quite anxious about getting into the property market. It's like it's a massive commitment and investment. You know, a lot of money as well. So, you know, just by getting a good enough bargain safeguards a lot of that risk. And it required a little bit of educating and I guess
there was a lot of hand holding in this
a
one,
lot of hand holding.
I hand held the deal from start to finish because it was a friend of mine. I was actually very, very close to the deal. Cash flow, everything. We had to make sure that she wasn't going to drown, basically.
So if you get the numbers right, it actually, look, there's no such thing as risk-free, but as riskless as you can get. What's riskless? If we bought that property, rewind the clock back to 2024, and let's say she really, you know, was stressed. You know, she's like, I don't want to go, you know, go down this property path. You could sell it the next day and not lose any money. You know, that's the beauty as well of buying below market is you can exit almost immediately. Notwithstanding any major global disasters that happen in between. But like it's what we call a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, this one I released after 4 months. So that's one of my fastest parental guarantee releases.
Wow.
So you need 20% uplift, including costs. You need about 25% uplift in the property before you can release the guarantee. So that parental guarantee was revalued. I can't remember what the value came back at. 4 months later, I think it was about 550, 570 or something. The valuation came back.
That's crazy.
Like you hit it right, and it was like someone had nipped it right in the butt, like exactly when the growth cycle just started. It was just hit there and just bang. Within 4 months, it was just you couldn't catch it. It was so fast because that fire, when it starts in one pocket, it spreads to the next. Right? It was just on that fringe of the next fire. So the townhouses over this, or villas, or townhouse, whatever you call them, in the next suburb already hitting that 550, 600 mark. So this next fringe suburb was at 450. It was an incredible deal.
100K in 4 months. Like in what world does that happen? Where you just buy a property, sit and do nothing. 4 months later, you made 100 grand. And you release, in this scenario, you release all the worries and concerns that your parents could have had, you know, by giving you that guarantee. Like,
one
covers
thing
our fee multiple times.
One thing is actually very interesting is that, okay, let's put sliding door moment now. She had 20 grand in shares, or she put 20 grand to the buyer's agent, right? And got the parental guarantee. Cash on cash. Let's imagine it's been 2 years, right, since that date. It's July 24. If you put 20 grand in shares 2 years ago, how much do you think you'll have today? I don't know.
Depends 2 years ago.
Like, let's say you got 20%. That's a great freaking return, right?
You'd be like 28,000 or something.
You'd be like 25, 26 or something, compounding, right? So let's say if you sold everything 25 grand today, you look at the property. If she sold it today, pay the taxes even, you'd be left over with over $200,000 cash. Crazy, right? Cash on cash return, 20 grand. That's a 10x on your initial capital.
So let's look at people that have supercharged their portfolios off the back of.
Before we get to that one,
you got another one.
I've got just the very last one on the first home buyers, and this is a personal favorite.
On the rat vibe.
This one is not on the rat vibe, but this is on the meth vibe.
On the meth,
on the meth
so
vibe.
we're going from rat to
We're on
meth.
the meth, guys.
We're on the
Meth.
What? I feel I feel like meth comes up in way too many property unfiltered conversations.
Yeah, no, that's his thing.
Yeah.
Meth labs.
The meth labs.
That's it.
So this one is
With your
actually
drug houses.
this one was actually for my brother himself. So
Okay, so you're getting close to home.
I'm getting
so you
very,
back
this is
it,
very,
you back
very
it.
close to
You're
home,
putting
right?
family there.
This is this is as close as home as
Yeah.
can get. Right, I'm the one backing it.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't even parents backing it; it's me backing it. But it was a different one. So, I remember this call was that Simon's like, I've got a deal, and my clients are all turning it down. Nobody wants the deal.
Yeah.
When you actually saw the photos of the deal, mate, this place looked trash. Like it looked. It had the biggest thing I remember was that they had like this rooftop thing, right? And they had like 20 chains and lockets on it. Do you remember this? I don't know if you remember this.
What? I see houses every
Okay.
day. So
You like chains tick. Yeah.
If you saw a photo of the guy that was living in it, mate,
It
you
was
was
like,
like
a sex dungeon or something. No, it's a meth lab.
There was
that's
like
right.
meth.
Maybe
Maybe
a bit of both.
In all honesty,
maybe.
I don't know, but if it felt like that, it was. And mate, the cupboards were hanging off. Everything in the kitchen was hanging off.
Yeah.
All the walls looked like
Yeah.
like everything looked like it looked like a meth
So wait,
lab.
was he doing meth or cooking meth?
No, who knows? Who knows? No, we don't know.
something to
No,
do with
we
it,
call
okay.
it the meth lab because of the way it looks. Mate, it was like
as
it looked,
opposed to
yeah,
a literal.
mate.
Yeah, okay.
It was atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been. Like we do get a lot of
It could have
meth
been.
lab properties,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
are amazing deals, and people
Yeah.
still turn them down, like one after the other. So,
Yeah, I love how you saying it like
Yeah.
you're surprised. You're like, we get so many good meth labs and people still turn them down.
yeah, I know.
Like,
Some of them really good setups.
yeah.
So this
Commercial loan.
Yeah, I won't go too long into this meth lab deal, but I mean, like when you see a property like that, I can see why Simon's clients were turning it down.
Yeah.
He goes, "Do you want it, Hung?"
And then you're like
then-
getting your brother on board, like hell
No,
yeah.
well, I was going to buy it for myself,
Yeah.
and then I looked at it and I go,
Share the
well,
love.
I go, so I was like, just look at it carefully, and I looked at it carefully, and I'm like, okay, that's all messed up, that's all messed up, that's all messed up, but none of this was the bones. It was just cosmetics, you know. So the more I looked at it, it was a couple of cupboard doors. You know, a couple of holes in the wall from someone getting angry on meth rage.
Yeah.
You know, there was like, there wasn't anything in there that was that bad, right? But it was honestly when the more I looked at it, and then you know what gave it away, which was the crazy part about it. So this was I'm trying to remember the purchase. Oh, there, $465 purchase price.
Yeah.
But the neighbor identical because this is like a
Yeah,
the
like
Marsden,
identical block. Yeah.
identical
Yeah.
block, identical house, identical
Yeah.
block, identical house, right? The neighbor had sold for $560 literally a week before that.
And what they were asking
And I couldn't sell
for-
it.
They
Yeah.
were
I
couldn't
asking
sell
for
this.
465. 465.
So, oh man.
Yeah. Look, I ended up spending, I think it was 22,000 in renos on this place.
Yeah.
You know, more what my brother did, but my brother did. You know, and you know, it was one of those ones where we're just like, mate, 20 grand in, yeah, 485, you know, for call it plus stamp or whatever.
Yeah.
But you've already got a 60 grand uplift, right?
Like,
But
yeah.
just by purely doing that.
Yeah,
So like
100%.
this is the parental guarantee deal I want
Yeah.
because I'm almost there to release my dad's guarantee straight away.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so-
not even waiting a year.
No, that was
This is-
instant.
We
Yeah.
almost missed out.
Yeah.
We were kind of like, probably hit up 10 buyers for this.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're like, no, we don't want it, we don't want it, we don't want it. And then like, we're going to miss out. Like, who cares about the deal more than the physical component of it?
Yeah.
That's when I spoke to Hung about this. And yeah, all right, fine, 20K reno. It's worth $800,000 today.
Yeah.
800 grand. You know, like massive block, 820 square meters. Even the house
That's
itself,
huge.
you know,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
decent size.
It was a good deal.
Yeah.
Like it was a good deal that nobody wanted, and I actually hesitated too. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I looked at it. I go, mate,
Yeah.
that's too much work. But then,
Yeah.
so I was like, look at it carefully, and I was
Yeah.
like, I kept looking at it carefully. Like, mate, there's nothing crazy. Like the sinks and everything are fine. Like all the major works in the kitchen, there's nothing crazy there.
Yeah.
It was literally just cosmetic work, but a lot of cosmetic work. You know, so. At the end of it, that was my brother's guarantee. And after we'd done the renos, we got a full valuation and actually we released the guarantee straight away. So that I think was actually, it wasn't the fastest release because we were just, I think when you're doing your own work, you take your time.
Yeah.
I wasn't stressed about releasing the guarantee and the market was still moving upwards. But that's been less than 2 years, that deal. So 800
crazy.
grand from 465 plus 20. So let's just call
Almost
it 500.
double. Yeah.
Almost double.
Right, crazy deal. And it was I needed my cash flow to work well for him because my brother was junior broke at the time.
Yeah.
So he wasn't earning as much. So he was, he needed the cash flow to work really well. I rented for $580 per week off the bat.
So, in the interest of time, I'm going to throw the
Yeah.
question out here. So, we've got a few topics to discuss. It could be one of your mutual friends, how both of you combined to really accelerate his portfolio, or deals done, Simon, that you've bought for Hung? Which one do you guys want to unpack?
I think we'll go through my deals.
You want to go through your deals?
Yeah,
All right. Let's get down and dirty.
Before we get to that, I think we were just putting a note there that, we'll, for anyone who's tuned in previously to the episode that we done with our friend Lawrence Koo, Lawrence is probably a good example.
Yeah.
Of
He's been on my
customer.
podcast as well.
He has,
yeah.
So we've done that on Property Unfiltered. At the time, I think he was at 10 properties, and they were creating a widget board. Do you
Yeah,
remember
he
that?
used to get, what was it, the little,
He's got
the
this thing on
Crocs.
his wall.
Yeah.
And he's got he puts these Crocs things in terms of his progress.
Yeah, the little,
It's really cute.
the things that you stick in the holes of
Yeah.
Crocs. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting too deep into his profile, but we're just thought that we do an update that we're at 16 widgets now. So we're
16
about 10
properties.
widgets back then. And,
Yeah.
the
Like
goal's
6 in,
20.
a year or something.
Yeah,
It's pretty
so
cool.
He started in June 2022, 4 years,
Yeah.
$10.5 million in value, and over $3 to $4 million in equity.
That's insane.
yeah,
Right.
from
Yeah.
start to now.
Yeah.
So, and these are all good properties and good growth areas.
Yeah.
All affordable within. They're probably breaking the 5% scheme in some of them now because the values have gone up so much. But yeah, no, it's just a fantastic thing to kind of reflect on.
And if he really wanted to, and we've got so many examples of these clients that have reached similar levels of this, where he could quit, he could retire. He could sell down a few, pay off a bunch, 5 or 6 properties just fully paid off.
Yeah.
Actually, with $3 to $4 million equity, probably more than 5 properties fully paid off.
Yeah.
And that'll give him immediately what, $3,000, $4,000 a week, maybe
That's
$3,000 a
enough,
week of
Yeah.
passive income. Easily, live a very comfortable life. If Albo doesn't make any more stupid decisions. So, but what's interesting for investors like him is when they hit that milestone, just like I did, you kind of don't. The option to stop isn't as attractive because suddenly work is optional, right? Like what you do in your day to day. Then not only that is the lure of, okay, cool. I'm still young. I'm still earning good income. Why don't I go for the next?
Yeah.
Why don't I go for the next 10 million? Why don't I really set myself up? Why don't I set myself up for the kids? You know what I mean? And then also the confidence and the education and all you've learned along the way is just like, people don't want it to go to waste.
Yeah.
So it's good once you get to that moment where you suddenly don't have that sort of financial freedom option, but very, very few take it. They might take it for a few months. I did that for 3 months and then I got really bored.
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of just, keep going. But
It's the art of the
meaningfully.
possible, right? Like if you did
Yeah.
it over 4 years, it can be done.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's the thing. It can be done. And
100%.
you can
And
work
he's still
if you
doing it.
want to.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah.
I
mean, when did APRA come in with all their regulations?
Oh, man, that's a hard one. I can't remember off the top of my head, but around 14, 15, somewhere around 2014, 2015.
Ever since it came in, everyone's been saying it's not possible anymore. To build large property portfolios and to strip equity and to keep going. Well, here's the proof.
The proof's in the pudding.
Eating of the pudding itself, like so many examples. I think people tend to give themselves excuses as to why they don't want to bite the bullet, make the commitment, make the sacrifices to buy these deals or to invest. Or maybe they convince themselves. I mean, you see this all the time. They always go, should I go own occupier or should I go investment?
Yeah.
But the emotional lure, especially if you surround all your friends and all your mates are buying, little 2-bedroom units and properties to live in to start a family, you kind of build this thing in your head that, okay, I'm going to go down that path.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it anyway. May as well just do that, but don't do that. Because now if he really wanted to get the equity and buy a gangster house, all the
that's it,
beaches,
right?
you know what I
Yeah.
mean, with cash.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit of delayed gratification, I think.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, or if you manage to hold them all through another, I guess, while it's still getting that growth because they are still all in affordable housing as such, right, that 3 to 4 mil equity could be 6 or 7 mil equity in a few years' time, right?
fair,
and then you're in a whole different position. You might only sell the ones that have peaked or the ones that have done their job. They've gone from 300-400 grand, which some of them I think the Brizzy ones have done really, really well, over 100% growth already.
Yeah.
Obviously Brizzy's had a good run, so you might consider selling some of those down. If you're active with the portfolio, it's going to be 10 times better.
Also, 2-3 years of potential rent increases as well. Like across 16 portfolios, even if it goes up $100 each over a couple of years, like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like that is huge at the end of the week. We had a lot more to unpack. We had a lot more to go through, in particular, the deals that you have done for Hung. I think it's good. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into the details. We're going to record that for next month's release.
Yeah. Stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned. And if anyone wants to know any particular stats, I'm sure you guys won't hide anything.
No.
Any rats, any meth.
It's unfiltered.
If people want to know,
yeah.
It could
If you're after actual meth, don't hit us up.
will there
just go punch a hole in the wall.
Will there be? Yeah, I think we might have some holes in walls. I think we might have more rat houses, but you're gonna have to stay tuned. You're gonna have to join us in a month if you want to know more. But until then, bye bye.